Hello, everyone. This is Leonard Guzman here with Emily Robinson on the Life After D podcast. We're here on March 23rd, 2021, episode 51. So we
Wow.
might be doing something right here on the Life After D podcast. So what do you think, Emily, in the last when we started like episode 1 and 2, how was the world different back then and how is it now?
Wow. We started this during the pandemic. Now things are opening up again, so it's great. Um, I'm hoping that we can go back to the normal world or close to it really, really soon. But it is really different. Like we started this when everything was complete lockdown and internet access, like in social media, was really the only way to communicate with anybody.
And so, like, I was reading some books and some things about not books. Yeah, I read a book about the like post COVID, and one of the things that I noticed was that they said that relationships, with let's say in marriages, it speeds up your marriage like 10 years. And so, if you were thinking of like getting a divorce like down the line, it happened like during this time. So
Wow.
what have you noticed? Like, is that true? Like, is it going to speed up another? Like, where's this going? Like, what's the pulse on this that you think?
Well, I think people have realized from this, life is short. So don't wait around forever if you're not happy to make a change in your life. I think also people have realized, okay, they can't live with this person forever. Now they've had a big dose of it being stuck in the house together. Um, but I do think it's made people realize that, you know, the world's unpredictable. Don't wait forever to do what makes you happy.
Yeah, it's crazy. I don't know. We'll see how it works. We know divorce trends are upticking, some downticking sometimes. Maybe courts changed. I've noticed. We've seen a lot of people adjusting with Zoom, and so it's I don't know. It's like people getting used to it. I'm
Yeah.
getting used to it. So. With that said, let's go to the news part of the podcast where we go over lots of celebrity news, lots of see what people celebrities get divorced. They're not immune to divorce. So let's see what's going on in the news. What's trending? Okay, here we go. Real Housewives of New York. We're always getting these. I think they're like in it. This is their publicity. Like they're so. I watch it, and Bethenny Frankel and Jason Hoppy finalized divorce 8 years after split. Better late than never. More than 8 years after initially calling it quits, Bethenny Frankel and Jason Hoppy have at last finalized a divorce. News that comes as rumors swirl that she's engaged to her current beau, Paul Vernon. Page Six has confirmed that a judge signed off on the divorce on January 20th. Frankel and Hoppy, who are parents to 10-year-old daughter Bryn, married in 2010, called it quits in December 2012. The Skinny Girl founder filed for divorce 1 year later, but their divorce and custody battles, which have included nasty accusations aired in court, have been raging on for 6 years. So a couple of things.
Wow.
Have you had the Skinny Girl? I think it's a martini.
I haven't yet. Have you?
No, I don't drink. So and then second, um, so divorces. Is this uncommon to just like 6 years later or however long, 8 years, and wait it out? And
It's
what's
not,
is yeah.
it's not actually that uncommon. A lot of times there's litigation for that long. Other times it's just people like don't focus on it. They get busy with other things in their life and they stay separated, but they don't pursue the actual divorce. There's no pressing reason to push it, no financial reason. Sometimes that's the case. And so it just sort of lingers there until somebody finally makes the move to finalize it. it actually happens pretty frequently.
She was too busy like formulating the skinny girl drinks, and she was like, "I'll do this
Exactly.
later. This is like second priority. Let me make some money. Let me make some money so I can, because divorce, I assume it costs a lot. I haven't gone through it, but yeah, so she was busy doing that.
And if they're just coexisting, living their own lives, and it's not actually affecting them in any way really, they may just not be pursuing it, and but eventually somebody usually says, "Okay, I've got to get done with this."
Yeah,
It's
especially it looks like she wants to marry her new boyfriend,
right,
so she got to speed it
exactly.
up. Okay.
Since she's engaged now, she's got to speed it up.
All right, next topic. This was interesting. NewYorkPost.com detective divorcing wife after she was seen in videos at U.S. Capitol riot with other man. A police detective in Pennsylvania has filed for divorce from his wife after she was seen in videos taking part in the riots at the U.S. Capitol with another man whom she had been communicating with since November about the protests, according to reports. Michael Heenel, a 30-year member of the Shaler Township Police Department, filed papers in Allegheny County Court of Common Pleas last month after he asked his wife Jennifer Mary Heenel is like Heineken without the KL. Um, not to travel to the nation's capital on June 6th, but she did anyway. Police Chief Sean Frank said the Pittsburgh Post Gazette reported. Jennifer now is facing federal charges, including violent entry and disorderly conduct on Capitol grounds and parading, demonstrating, or picketing in on a Capitol building. The paper said so this is probably gonna happen more often where I assume she got caught because she was on a video like someone posted on Facebook and then the husband's like what's this? Is this
Wow,
happening more and
yeah.
more? People are like kind of telling on themselves.
Yeah, I mean, with social media, that's what's happening. It's very hard to do anything in private. People see everything that you do. You can track people with your phones now, even if they don't know. You've got like Find My Friend or whatever. Um, it's hard to try to pull anything off in secret these days. And yes, this is happening much more frequently. People will say, "I know my spouse is cheating," and they have proof because of all of these electronic ways to know where somebody is.
And then that's proof. That's like object, like you can use that as like um you could present it in court. That's what I'm asking.
You could, yeah. I mean, we're a no fault divorce state. So if you find out someone's having an affair, it may not do anything, but you can use your, uh, digital records as proof.
Okay, next story. CNN reports. Well, this is a kind of interesting thing. Anna Farris and Gwyneth Paltrow talk about their divorces. So Anna Farris opens up about her marriage to Chris Pratt in the latest episode of her podcast. I guess everyone has a podcast now. Anna
Yeah, right.
Farris is unqualified, telling her guest Gwyneth Paltrow that she grew competitive with Pratt over their careers. My two other marriages were with actors, and I don't think we did a great job of eliminating competitiveness, Farris told Paltrow, or at least I didn't, being a proud person and not wanting to reveal vulnerability. Farris was married to actor Ben Indra from 2004 to 2008 before she married Pratt. Farris continued, any hint of competitiveness and comparison, I didn't handle that very well, I don't think, and I hope I've grown from that. In 2017, Farris and Pratt split after 80 years of marriage and finalized their divorce in 2018. They share a 8-year-old son, Jack. Paltrow discussed her own marriage to Coldplay frontman Chris Martin, saying she never thought she would be divorced. I never wanted to get divorced. Paltrow said, I never wanted not to be married to the father of my kids theoretically, but I have learned about more about myself through that process than I could have imagined. And because I focused on accountability, I was then able to find most amazing man, and built something that I never had before with Brad, my husband. So first of all, what's your favorite Coldplay song? There's so
Oh,
many good ones.
that's what the what?
There's so many good ones.
There are so many good ones. I don't know. I'll have to think about that. I do actually really like Coldplay. I was actually sad when they got divorced. What's your favorite?
It's this new one. I can't remember it, but it's the one about superhero in the lyric. I'm blanking right now. It's one
It's
of
a
the
new one?
yeah, it's a newer one.
A superhero. I don't think I know the name of that one.
I can't think of it, but it's one of their newer ones. It's like the one it's a cover one. It's a popular one. That's the one thing that comes in my mind. But their old stuff's like the really good stuff, I think.
I know. I think I like their old stuff probably better. I don't know. I'm trying to think. We'll come back to me. I'm
We'll
trying to
come
think
back to it. Okay, so let's
which
get
one's
back
my
to
favorite.
it.
I'll pick one.
So Anna Faris, so she says in marriages, and I'm sure this happens with everyone, the reason for divorce is like things get like competitive, whether it's like probably like, oh, I make more money, and you're like, but it's like weird because you're like you're a married couple and you're a team. So
Yeah.
how does that all work?
I mean, I think it depends on your personalities. Like, I think a lot of people are competitive with each other, especially two people in high powered positions like her and her husband. I just watched Jurassic World last night, actually. So saw Chris
Good movie.
Pratt. I don't know. I think they were married when he made that. But so I think that's actually pretty common. Like, I bet Angelina and Brad might have been competitive. I think when you have two high powered people, that can be a problem. I guess it's really how you deal with it, and if you can turn it into not a giant battle, and instead like respect each other and be excited for the other one's success. But who knows, maybe in their situation they weren't able to do that. But I do actually think it's really common, like if you have two doctors that are married or anything like that, I think you'd have the same thing.
Yeah, the ego swings both ways. So like the ego that got you there, it's on the other side where it swings, it's like you want to be like, oh, I want to be I guess the more dominant figure or doctor person. So it's weird. It's a balancing act, I guess. The
Yeah,
ego.
it is, and I think, yes, exactly, there's a positive side to that and a negative side to the various personality traits.
Yeah, I feel like some life coach now, like the ego balancing. Like I've been, I, I was like, I've been listening to all these weird podcasts. Okay. With that said, let's go to the part of the podcast called Dear Emily, where we go on online, see what posts pop up. Usually people ask advice. And Emily gives tips about alimony. Um, Maybe they're starting off the divorce process. They need kind of help. They're stuck. All kinds of, maybe someone is just ranting. So let's get to the first post here.
Before our first post, I think I decided my favorite.
Okay, go.
I had to look up the title because I knew the lyrics and I didn't know what it was called.
All right, all right.
I thought it was called like Lights Will Guide You Home, but it's actually called Fix You. But that's probably my favorite Coldplay song.
Which album is it on? Do you know?
I can tell you. It's on X and Y.
So is that the older? I can't remember that one.
Yeah, yeah, it's old.
Oh,
It's like
okay.
from like 05 or something. The older stuff. I like the older stuff.
Yeah, I know.
But I just couldn't. Singing the song in my head and I couldn't think of the name.
Well, you could play those albums, like the older ones, like just play the whole album through. It's like the whole hour, and then but like now it's like on Spotify, just like it's on your playlist. You get
I
one or
know.
two.
Well, you can, I mean, now I just Googled the lyrics that I remembered and it told me the name. Like you can find anything now.
That's true. All right, let's get back to business
Okay.
here. Oh yeah, so we're getting to the first post here. This one's looks like an FML one. So apparently, I'm not a man if I let the courts divide assets equally according to the wife. So my wife is constantly pushing to end things, and I've finally had enough and agreed to get it going. There's one catch: I need to leave the house and give her everything because it's not fair that she should have to start over. She makes quite a bit more than me, especially after being laid off due to the COVID situation. She's basically the breadwinner now, but I still do handle all my bills and debts. So she pretty much covers housing and such, which she easily covers. As a child of divorce who saw my dad get absolutely manhandled by the courts, I find it pretty strange that when the shoe's on the other foot, and you're not a man if you benefit whatsoever from the divorce. I'm not sure she's living in the real world where you simply just end the marriage and there's absolutely no downside for you, because that's the total opposite generally in divorces. I'm skipping down here. So, am I wrong to not feel bad about this? I've tried to find common ground, like separating while living together for a year and or more till I save enough money to rebuild my life and return. And in return, I'll let her keep the house, but she refuses and says, I need to leave. I don't want anything like spousal support, but I also don't want to turn it down if she refuses to give me time and act like an adult. Um, so we need to end things with less emotion. I keep telling her this is how work divorces work, but she thinks I'm just being uh, less of a man trying to take stuff from her. um yeah, macho man stuff.
Well, I think that's a tactic typically used by people, is to put you down to try to get what they want. In a way, she's being a bully, saying like, you're not a man if you don't do this. And that's her way of trying to bully him into doing what she wants him to do. Um, I also think a lot of people feel really entitled, and they think that if you go for everything that you could get in court, then you're not being generous or you're not being a good person and things like that. And that's, it's a tactic to try and make you feel bad. But obviously, they think they should be getting what they're entitled to. So you have to keep that in mind when somebody's trying to put you in that position, that it's coming from probably their own place of self-interest.
Okay, this one seems like it's a cheerful one. Doing okay. It's a triumph. I was gonna say Trump. I don't know. I said the TRU. Okay. Triumph. Okay. Today marks 6 months since my husband of 10 years told me he no longer saw a future with me and actually hadn't fell in love for some time. I'm 31, he's 34. He left me alone in a new city in a country that no longer really felt like home in a pandemic. I've never felt more abandoned or distraught, but I can say with confidence that today, on this mundane, gray Tuesday, 6 months since receiving the worst news of my life so far, I feel okay. And for me, that's a triumph because in the initial weeks after he left, I couldn't actually imagine ever feeling okay again. Um, every night I
Mhm.
felt, and every night and day I felt betrayed, hurt, despondent, lost, fearful, and just utterly, um, it's a big word, bereft.
Correct.
I don't think you can skip this part. It just hurts. But if you take care of yourself, the intensity does wane.
Well, that's a good post because it shows, life after divorce, life after the pain, like how you can be at your lowest point, but eventually it will get better. And people just really have to remember that. And I like when there's posts like that because they help others who are going through the same situation to see that there is life on the other side.
All right. Here we go. This is an interesting one. Gavin Newsom closed the courts in Riverside. So Riverside it's here in California. It's a Riverside County. So I could have filed it in Riverside County Superior Court with their help, but since they're closed, I don't know if me wanting to get this filed counts as an emergency. It's kind of incomplete, but it's our
Yeah, I'm not
last
sure
post, so let's get into this.
I'm not sure what they're filing, but most filings won't count as an emergency. When the courts are closed, if you can't file something, you're just out of luck until they reopen. Um, Unless it's somebody's life is in danger or there's some irreparable harm that's going to come if you don't file right now. Then the court will not accept an emergency filing. And just like really wanting to get divorced or wanting things to get moving are not emergencies.
Okay, so that's our last post of the day. Gone through a lot of topics. I counted 5, 6. And then we have Coldplay. So any new things coming up? Like it's spring. April's coming up.
Spring break, yay.
Spring break.
I'm just working, so that's not exciting. Just the weather's getting warm and I'm really hoping, to be able to like go swimming and do some fun things this summer and for everyone to get vaccinated so we can just move forward. I can't wait. I want to go back to Disneyland.
Maybe people will be happier at Disneyland, and marriages will be saved. Who knows?
Well, if anything can make you happy, it's Disneyland.
Okay, so we'll close on that. Happiest place on earth. Just imagine it, and tune in next week on the Life After D podcast.
Bye.